today. A lot of upside, as I said a moment ago. Let's see how they play today.
And the kickoff from Johnson. It's the Vikings and Bengals. And here we go from Minneapolis, taken by David Palmer a couple yards deep in the end zone. He gets a block at the 20, another one at the 30, and there he goes. No flags on the play. He's to midfield, giving great beginning field position for the Vikings, and they have thrown a flag back, and it's against Minnesota at the 27-yard line. It came in late while Palmer was at about the 45. They threw the flag.
During the return, holding by the receiving team, number 87. Half the distance to the goal. Minnesota keeps the ball, first down.
And it was after Palmer had zipped by him and was 15 yards upfield.
It's the worst kind of penalty. You know, it didn't matter. Everything was already past the block or the hold. Randall Cunningham, arthroscopic surgery, is coming back. They didn't even put a stitch in his knee, though. They just put a Band-Aid over, a little clamp over it. He's practiced all week. He is really pushing Denny Green to play. And the tragedy here, though, of course, would be if we saw another Jason Sehorn kind of an incident like what happened to the New York Giants earlier this year.
In the preseason, when they were trying to experiment with him returning kickoffs for the Giants, Cunningham had surgery on Monday. They made 3 incisions and took out bone chips from his knee. But he's back starting today. And a 51-yard return by Palmer is wiped away. So from the 18-yard line, 1st and 10, fake handoff, and right to work goes Cunningham. Pocket crumbles, he throws, and the pass is caught by Robert Smith, chased by Spikes out of bounds and close to a Viking first down. The Minnesota offense, and an offensive line amongst the best in football, the All-Pro Stussy, the great Randall McDaniel, Christie, Dixon, and Corey Stringer, the right tackle. We just saw the catch by Smith. Blocking back is Evans. Great receivers. Carter and Reed. Will also see a lot of Randy Moss. The tight end, the underutilized Andrew Glover. Underutilized at least until last week when he had a career 9 reception game. 1st and 10. This is Robert Smith around the McDaniel block, and he's out to the 31 with the gain of 3. And the tackle made by Renard Wilson. The defense of the Bengals, 30th in the National Football League, 30th against the run. Bankston, Van Oelhoffen, and Clyde Simmons at the right end. Linebackers, rookie free agent Ross, rookie Simmons, rookie Spike, second-year player Renard Wilson. In the secondary, Ashley Ambrose at one corner, Hawkins at the other. He's a rookie and was beaten badly last week. Shade and Myers are the safeties. 2nd down, long 7 from the 30. Great block by McDaniel again, affording time for Cunningham. Throwing outside, incomplete, looking for Robert Smith. Incomplete pass, it'll bring up 3rd down.
And the Vikings use a lot of different formations and personnel combinations. The first 3 plays, each play had a different formation. 2 of the 3 different personnel in the ballgame.
I guess it's to prompt the defense to react so that the offensive coordinator, in this case Brian Billick and Coach Denny Green, can see how they'll react.
Well, that's what they're doing. They're setting up, seeing what the matchups are going to be for later in the ballgame. Brian Billick, who's the offensive coordinator, scripts by 1st down, 2nd down, 3rd down, the first 4 or 5 plays in each situation.
Last handful of games, Vikings have been outstanding on 3rd down. Here, 3rd and a long 7. Another good block. The pass ricochets over the oncoming rush of the Bengals, and Clyde Simmons, 10th in sacks in the history of the NFL, right in Cunningham's face, and the Vikings have got a punt.
If anything happens when you've got a bad knee right here is you don't take as long a stride in the setup. That means you don't get as far away from the rush. Even though Randall Cunningham's a big, tall guy, Clyde Simmons timed the windup. And listen, Randall Cunningham has one thing that helps the defensive lineman. He takes a full windup when he throws.
Mitch Berger to punt, and this is high and hanging inside the dome. Wide receiver Damon Gibson back at the 11, got a block, and he's tackled by running back Harold Morrow at about the 17-yard line. A 58-yard punt by Berger, a beauty. Another flag has been thrown, this one called on the Vikings again, like the opening kickoff, which wiped away a 51-yard return by Palmer. Ed Hockley is our referee today, and he was the Super Bowl referee a season ago. One of the best in the NFL, a lawyer from Phoenix, Arizona.
And you see, they discuss it before he makes an announcement. He wants to make sure everything is squared away, that everyone saw what they thought they saw, and they try to confirm it.
Holding by the kicking team, number 53. 10-yard penalty, repeat 4th down.
Mays on the special teams for the Vikings, and so they'll punt it once again. In essence, wiping away a 58-yard punt by Berger.
I tell you what, well, that's there was a no-brainer there. You want to take that kick again, 58 yards in the air long enough for the coverage to get down there. Many times when you kick the ball that far, you out-kick the coverage. I can remember Marv Levy telling me that the best punter in the league shouldn't be the one that has the best gross yardage. It's the one with the best net yardage because he leaves it in the air long enough for the cover people to get down there, and that leaves you your best field position after the exchange of possession.
Makes sense. Berger again, and Gibson remains the guy. This punt may be even better. Driving the backpedaling Gibson to the 14, and he trips on the turf and tumbles ahead near the 26-yard line. Robert Tate was there.
Speed guys going down. Robert Tate, a wide receiver. Lots of speed to get under that one.
66-yard punt. Bengals get it for the first time.
With the New York Jets back in November of '97, 67% completion that day for over 240 yards and a touchdown. So he's got a good memory here. Threw his first interception in 238 tries last week against Jacksonville. Very accurate passer, good decision maker.
But he's still learning the offense.
Well, you generally learn it for about a year, and he hasn't been here a full year yet.
First possession by the Bengals from their 26, first down and 10. And a fake handoff. McDonald right to work and throws deep. He's got a receiver down the sideline and broken up by Hitchcock as O'Donnell tried to throw downfield. And he was aiming for Darnay Scott, who's missed the last couple games. The Cincinnati Bengal offensive line, Sargent, Graham, Brills, Brown, and former #1 pick out of Auburn, Willie Anderson. Corey Dillon will carry the ball most of the time. Blocking back is Milne, Pickens, and Scott. Scott is back now as a wide receiver. And Tony McGee will be the tight end. It's second down and 10 from the 26. McGee in motion. O'Donnell hands off to Dillon, who is brought down behind the line of scrimmage by Robert Griffin, who's having a Pro Bowl type season. The Viking defense comes in 20th in the NFL. Clemens, Jerry Ball, the great John Randall, and Derek Alexander. Linebackers, Edwards, McDaniel, and Dwayne Rudd in his second year, but he's again showing a lot of stuff. And in the secondary, which was a preseason concern, playing well. Fuller and Hitchcock, the cornerbacks. Griffith, who just made the tackle, and Orlando Thomas, the safety.
Neil O'Donnell told us last night he didn't want to get into these third and long situations. They have to make third downs, and it's tough on third and long.
3rd and 9 for O'Donnell. A block. Here comes the rush. McDaniel's got him, and down he goes. Ed McDaniel with his 4th sack of the year, getting some help from Corey Fuller.
They bring the extra guy. Here's Corey Fuller coming from the outside. The rest of the guys belong there. Ed McDaniel coming up the middle, number 58. He's the first guy to get there, but any of 3 could have sacked Neil O'Donnell that time. And this is what the Bengals have to avoid. On the first play, they had a chance for Neil O'Donnell to scramble for a first down. He threw the ball. It was incomplete. Set him up into this long-distance situation. They were unable to do anything. They actually lose yard on the punt. That's what a sack does on third down. It adds or subtracts yardage from the punt that's about to happen from Lee Johnson.
O'Donnell is sacked for the 25th time. Johnson, a longtime veteran, punts it to Palmer, and it's fair caught at the 41-yard line. A 43-yard punt by veteran Lee Johnson, who has had 2 block punts in the last 2 weeks. Vikings with their second possession in a scoreless first quarter from the Dome in Minneapolis.
A champion's pedigree.
We are a company built on engineering mastery. 300 gives us an all-out engineering car.
The all-new 99 Chrysler 300M Sports Sedan.
It's unique, and it's exciting, and it's a basic automotive experience.
The most horsepower, the most torque, and the widest stance in its class. The Chrysler 300M. The technology has changed, but the soul lives on. Lease the all-new Chrysler 300M for just $399 a month.
Okay, people, this is a phone, and this is $1. You still with me? Well, that's good. Now, dial this number, and all your long-distance calls from home could cost less than $1. That's right, with 10-10-220, all calls up to 20 minutes are only 99 cents. Talk longer, and it's just 10 cents for each extra minute. No fees, no contracts. Am I right, Poochie? Just dial 10-10-220, then 1, then the number. Bottom line, you get up to 20 minutes on this for less than this. You got that? Good, because if I'm not mistaken, I think nature's calling my dog.
car batteries are put to the test, America's most trusted lives up to its name. Die Hard. What's under your hood?
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines, proud sponsor of the NFL and official airline of the Super Bowl. Chrysler, engineered to be great car. And by 10-10-2-20.
Yeah, cherries in the upper Midwest, a big deal. Up in this part of the country, up in Wisconsin, in Door County, Wisconsin, Sturgeon Bay, Egg Harbor, Fish Creek. Vikings punted first time they had it. Cincinnati punted the first time they had it. Second Viking possession from the 41. The handoff to Robert Smith with the block from Carter, and he's up with the gain of 9 to midfield. Michael Bengals brought him down.
And the Minnesota Vikings picked up 20 yards on that punt exchange. First and 10, run straight up the middle. You see the Bengals have 7 or 8 people up around the ball, but Robert Smith has good vision. He just looks back, peels back to the outside, and you see the first guy really getting to him is Sam Shade, or at least slowing him down. The safety, when you run into the safety, you know you're making yards.
Could be a run here. The Vikings have put in 3 tight ends.
They'll use a lot of personnel. They'll have 3 wide receivers down on the next play.
Second down and 1 for midfield. And Cunningham looks great with knee surgery on Monday. And he got another block from the tight end Glover, and an easy first down, slicing his way. Robert Smith, the gain of 9, and again Bankston with the Cincinnati tackle.
The Bengals have a hard time stopping people right here. As you can see, they're 30th, 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 and 29th in these categories. Third down conversions are the ones that keep drives going. When you've got a team like Minnesota, they're going to de-emphasize Randall Cunningham as much as they can in this game. Those third down conversions become more important. The Bengals are 29th in the league in defending, of course, those third downs.
Keeps that defense on the field a long time. First and 10 from the Bengal 41. Carter's in motion. Robert Smith again. Stussy with the block, and the tackle finally made by Renard Wilson. A gain of 3. Let's go to CBS in New York with Jim Nance.
All right, Kevin and Sam, what an opening drive for Miami. 93 yards they go. 56 yards on the ground by Abdul-Jabbar, who takes it across from a yard out. Miami up a quick 7 on Carolina. Back to you.
Miami needs to win because that AFC East is bunched up on top.
Oh, it's the tightest one, and that'll make Jimmy Johnson happy. They're moving the ball and scoring on the ground, that running game.
Second down and 8 for the Vikings in a scoreless first quarter from the 39 of Cincinnati.
Here are those 3 wide receivers.
Simmons on the blitz. It was picked up. Block outside from Glover, and once again it's Smith directed left, and he might be near the 37 with Javon Langford making the tackle.
This is how Randall Cunningham was injured a week ago against New Orleans. Dropped back to pass. Just falls forward. It doesn't look like a serious injury. In fact, at the time, he thought it was more of an ankle than it was a knee. But they did the arthroscopic surgery. You know, sports medicine has come so far. Normally, that would mean an injury meant you'd have to cut that skin open and perform surgery. Now they just put a little needle in there and fix it, clean out the chips, and go back to work.
3rd and 5. Palmer is in. Watch him, number 22, and watch number 80, Chris Carter. Cunningham outside. He goes to another option. Randy Moss, who gets a full first down at the 29. It's a gain of 7. Moss caught but 1 catch last week, but he is the leading rookie receiver in the NFL.
Now look, when they spread everybody out like this, you've got 4 people along the front. Here comes a safety up the middle, but there's nobody underneath the throwing lane right here. It's a perfect shot to the outside. That's what they gain by that. When you have everyone spread out covering receivers, you run the ball. When they come in to stop the run, you throw the ball.
Moss makes his 33rd reception of the season. On the 29, 1st and 10 for the Vikings on their second drive of the day. Play action. Cunningham, deep, wide open, what a catch at the 5. 1st and goal.
Really a terrific job by Randall Cunningham because he faked the ball to the left, and then there was a lot of torque on that knee as he set up to throw the ball to the left. Actually let it fly on him a little bit, but when you've got Chris Carter, who's now just 1 pass away from setting another record. We'll go with those in a minute, but here's the setup. He has to turn back to his left and set himself. Ball escapes on him a little bit, otherwise he'd had a touchdown.
5 consecutive Pro Bowls. One day he'll be in Canton. 1st and goal from the 4. DeLong, the tight end, is in motion. Handoff and a sledgehammer move by Leroy Horde, and he did not get it, picking up 3s to the 1. Second down and goal.
You know, it's crucial that the Bengals get off to some kind of a fast start, or at least nullify a fast start by Minnesota. So far, it has not happened. Just a lot of surge right there. The offensive line, big offensive line of the Minnesota Vikings, got the edge.
Horde has really carved a nice niche for himself on this Viking offense.
Well, you know, he's not only a short yardage or a goal line type runner, but he's a good third down receiver. He catches the ball, can make things happen, and he's a solid blocker.
Smith comes in for Horde. Lead back is Evans. Second down goal at the 1-8 play of the Viking drive. The pitch to Smith. Tried to stiff on his way around Takeo Spikes and can't get by him. And Spikes, the rookie who everybody is talking about out of Auburn, with a great defensive play.
Tremendous speed. He's one of 3 rookies that's playing right here. But watch number 51. He's going to come from the inside too, but he can't cut the corner. You know, actually, the Bengals probably are a little better in run defense down here because you don't see as much of the zone blitz. Takeo Spikes, not Takeo, it's Takeo, and don't make that mistake again. A lot of speed. He can actually take an angle that's not exactly right and have enough speed to recover.
Here comes Cunningham now with an empty backfield, third and goal from the 3. Palmer is in. Quarterback keeper with a bad wheel and all. Touchdown. Randall Cunningham.
Kevin, this may have been an audible. You see how much room there is right under center right there? Randall takes a quick look to the outside just to freeze everybody, make sure nobody fill those interior gaps. And then just a quarterback sneak. He spent a lot of time under center. And then just the quarterback sneak, and at 6'4" plus. I think he's a little taller than that. He reaches across the goal.
Gary Anderson knocks in his 36th consecutive point after. Randall Cunningham on that drive, and Chris Carter on a 25-yard pass, which sets up the 1-yard touchdown run by the Viking QB.
Johnson, I'd like to see some ideas on saving the company money. I'll be back first thing in the morning.
Keep your chin up, Bruce Coslett. That's Jim Anderson, the running back coach he's talking to. Right now, the team will glance over at the coach, and you can send a body signal, body language will signal to the team that they're still in it. They got a touchdown. They didn't expect to hold them scoreless the whole ball game. Now we just got to go back and match it. But the one thing they didn't want to do was get behind early. They held them on the first series. That time, though, it looked like Minnesota was unstoppable.
In this building, which is very loud. Berger the kickoff. And Mack is back in the end zone with the touchback for Berger, who is second in the NFL and first in the NFC in touchbacks. That was his 20th of the year. He is a great kickoff guy.
Let me tell you, that's a tremendous nullifying weapon that the Bengals have. Tremaine Mack is a terrific kickoff return man, one of the best players on their team in terms of setting up field position for them.
The Bengals get it back, down by 7.
Because of our passion.
It's sponsored by Nasonex and by Pizza Hut, home of the stuffed crust pizza, the most fun you can have with a pizza.
With Sam White, this is Kevin Harlan. We're in the Dome in Minneapolis. Randall Cunningham has taken the ball in from a yard away. Vikings on top, and this will be the second possession for the Bengals this afternoon.
Bengals coming into this ball, and they played Denver well a week ago. They beat Pittsburgh earlier, but they're having a time today in Minnesota.
On the 20, first and 10, here comes Corey Dillon, truly one of the bright spots on this team. Ed McDaniel got around him after a gain of 3.
You know, if the Bengals can run Corey Dillon, eat up the clock, keep Minnesota's offense off the field, and just stay in this ball game for a while, take the crowd out of it a little bit, that's their only chance, not their best chance. I think it's their only chance to win today. The other guy, though, that's got to get the ball some is a guy that Bruce Coslett has a very good relationship, we found out last night. That's Carl Pickens, their top receiver.
Second down, 7. Draw play handoff again to Dillon with not much there. Jerry Ball started that. Ball comes in weighing 350 pounds. He's a hard guy to miss.
Well, the interior line, John Randall is the star, of course, standing right next to Jerry Ball. And John Randall's going to move around. He's not going to be just inside today. Kevin Sargent's going to have a shot at him. Willie Anderson will have a shot at him. But Jerry Ball's going to be in the middle, and at 345, hard to say that, 345 pounds. You can see where a lot of it's located. Tough to move it.
That's second down. 3rd down and 7. From the shotgun, O'Donnell floats it out, screen pass. Bieniemy gets a great block from Grills, and he's got the first down, tumbling to the 39-yard line and a gain of 15. Robert Griffin made the stop on a crushing block by Grills, the center.
Good call right here. They're getting to the quarterback, so let these guys come on in there and rush the quarterback. Bieniemy, one of the leaders on this football team on special teams as well as 3rd down offense. And look at the blocks downfield right there. Everybody downfield trying to make things happen. Big first down. The Bengals needed that. If they'd have been 3 and out backed up, no rest for the defense, it would have been big trouble.
Now some breathing space out at the 37. 1st and 10. O'Donnell, the deep drop, gets a block from Sargent, buying time outside the pass to running back Corey Dillon. And he's belted at about the 42-yard line by left cornerback Corey Fuller. It's a gain of 6.
That time, Neil O'Donnell went to his alternate receiver. That was not the primary receiver. Talking to Bruce Coslet last night, he mentioned that Neil doesn't really know this offense like he is going to know it or like he'd like for him to know it at this stage of it. Hadn't been here long enough. But knowing the offense means to know when to come off your primary receiver and go to your alternate. He did it that time.
2nd down 4. Best field position today for the Bengals. Blitz is on by McDaniel. And a broken tackle by Dillon, who gets the first down as he takes it down to the Viking 48. It's a gain of 8. Edwards made the tackle, but Dillon sheds the oncoming linebacker, Ed McDaniel.
And Ed McDaniel's timed it just perfectly. You're trying to guess the snap count in a blitz like that, but he overran. He was coming so hard, he didn't really get a chance to bend his knees and get on balance to change direction. Corey Dillon will make the first guy miss.
Another first down. Steve Bush is in the backfield as the lead blocker. Hunden was in motion. A block by Bush and a handoff to Dillon produces nothing. Ed McDaniel, who leads the Vikings in tackles, made it there.
And that time coming off the outside there, Robert Griffith's coming from the upside. He's going to cut off anything happening. That means they can overplay it to the strong side in the direction of the ball carrier this time. Nowhere to go. Even with good solid blocking, they were outnumbered that time. That's a defensive strategy that worked for the Minnesota Vikings.
I like this Dillon.
Corey Dillon's a terrific football player. He's strong as well as fast. Got good hands.
2nd down 10, 7th play of the drive. Dillon, nice block there by Graham, opening up room, and Dillon tumbles ahead to the 38. A gain of 9. Robert Griffith with the tackle.
Now this is what we said earlier that they had to do. Look at the guards going to come around, pull into the outside, making that block right there. That springs Corey Dillon. If the Bengals can stay on the ground, as we mentioned earlier, if they can stay on the ground, eat up the clock, give their defense plenty of rest on the field, they've got a chance to play this team like they did Denver and Pittsburgh earlier in the year.
Dillon on a franchise record pace for yards and attempts in a season. It's 3rd down and 1. The crowd comes alive. And Dillon with Blake in there as the quarterback, and Tony Williams makes the tackle. Jeff Blake is in as the quarterback of the Cincinnati Bengals.
Little wrinkle that Bruce Coslet's putting in. Blake is more the scrambler, the runner. It's like having another running back in there that the defense is going to have to defend. Plus the fact when he comes into the ball game, what you're saying is something's up.
This is very White-like.
I would never do anything like this. Never have and never will again.
Is it April Fool's?
It is. I think Neil O'Donnell is fine. He's not injured.
4th and 2. Blake with the option. The fake to Dillon, who gives him a block. And he falls ahead on 4th and 2 and comes up short, a yard short. Dwayne Rudd shut the door on the corner.
Well, that was the idea of it. He used the extra running back. When he keeps the ball and runs, what it does, it gives you an extra blocker out in front. You're not handing the ball off to the running back. The guy you would have handed off, you got 1, 2 blockers in front. Still not enough today.
So even a new quarterback can't make it work for the Bengals here.
I see trees of green.
I'm glad I'm sitting here next to Kevin Harlan and not sitting next to Neil O'Donnell. He has a penetrating look, to say the least. That's Kenny Anderson, the quarterback coach, and maybe a Hall of Famer. He's been nominated.
He should be in.
And he should be.
Just outside the 39, here comes Randall Cunningham on 1st and 10, and the catch is made by Jake Reed, whacked by Artrell Hawkins. Close to a first down with a gain of 9 on first.
I would guess they're going to work on Artrell Hawkins a little bit. He stumbled and fell early in the ball game last week against Jacksonville and gave up a touchdown. They're going to throw short early. What they do is get him to close, inside patterns, make him close early. Artrell Hawkins, who's a rookie. And anytime you put the only reason he's out there playing as a rookie is that the injury to Corey Sawyer. And so they're not able to split as much, but they're going to get the ball to those big receivers.
2nd and 1 with Horde affording a block, a pass downfield, caught by Carter. Breaking tackles and stiff-arming his way. Hawkins was beaten there. He makes the tackle after a gain of 33 by Carter.
Well, actually, this is a split down the side. Now look at Hawkins. He's going to bump and release. He's got the flat. He's got the underneath. There's help coming from on top. It's perfectly thrown. As you see, Myers misses the tackle. Artrell Hawkins has to come back to make the play, but there's a flag on the play.
Back at the 46-yard line of Minnesota.
Judging from the boos, I'm saying they're mad at the official for seeing that. Going to bring back a really fine throw, and you don't see anything wrong with Randall Cunningham's throwing motion. The knee is certainly not bothering that. You know, one of the things when you've got a knee or an ankle or something, sometimes you say, well, he can still throw. He throws with his arm. You throw with your legs, your back muscles, your neck muscles. You throw with everything.
Holding was the call. The microphone on the official was out, so that's why we couldn't hear it.
Here comes the blitz from Cincinnati.
Wipes out a 33-yard pass to Carter. It was 2nd down and 11, and they stop it here again with another flag across.
Start.
Now it's working.
Offense number 86. 5-yard penalty. It's still 2nd down.
86 is Jake Reed, the wide receiver.
Well, Cincinnati showed blitz. The safeties came up. The linebacker was cheating up in the line of scrimmage. Jake Reed was waiting for the snap count, and it's just as he thought the count was coming, Randall Cunningham checked off or started to audible off. Jake Reed flinched. They called it 5 yards.
Moss is in for Dennis Green. Top of your screen, they've got Carter and Reed. 2nd down and 16.
Extra defensive backs for the Bengals.
Oh, and they moved again. There go more flags. Looked like maybe the center, Jeff Christie.
Or Andrew Glover, the tight end. A lot of people moved actually on that one. I think Randall pulled out early too, Randall Cunningham.
Vikings last week against the Saints had 3 penalties on 1 play deep in Saints territory.
Hurt your average.
For the snap, false start. Offense number 82. 5-yard penalty. Still 2nd down.
Glover and Christie both, but Glover the one called.
Yeah, what's happening here is that Randall Cunningham is trying to get the snap count either hurried up or changing the play. If he sees the blitz, he wants to go ahead and get the play underway before they get in position to get the quick jump on in their blitz. If he sees it too late, then he tries to audible. What's happening is everybody else's rhythm is thrown off. They're not the snap counts making more mistakes really than the other players are.
5th penalty on the Vikings, the 3rd on the Viking offense. Now it becomes 2nd down and 21 as the clock continues to tick, and let's see if they get this off, and they will not before the end of the 1st quarter. Randall Cunningham has a 1-yard touchdown run in the 1st quarter, and that's the end of the 1st period with the Vikings leading 7-0. We'll return to the Metrodome after this word as you're watching the NFL on CBS. We begin the 2nd quarter here in downtown Minneapolis with the Vikings on top on a Cunningham run, 7-0 with Sam Weich. This is Kevin Harlan, and Minnesota begins the 2nd quarter facing 2nd down and 21.
And the Bengals this time with only 1, there they go, 3 down linemen again in their 3-4 defense. Not a lot of teams play it, the Bengals do.
Cunningham with time down the sideline and almost picked off by Artrell Hawkins on a pass intended for Jake Reed, incomplete. It's 3rd and 21.
They're going to be picking. Number 1, Artrell Hawkins is a rookie. They'll pick on him, but again last week he fell down, and Alvis Whitted for the Jacksonville Jaguars scored an easy touchdown early. They're looking to see if he'll make the same mistake.
Buffalo leading New England. Huge game in the AFC East. Tennessee, boy, are they hot all of a sudden over Pittsburgh. 3-0 late in the 1st quarter. That's a huge game. San Francisco and Atlanta.
Tennessee Titans it will be very shortly, announced this week.
3rd and 21. Vikings are 2 of 3 on 3rd downs today. Here comes Wilson. He's got the quarterback Cunningham, and down he goes. The 1st sack today of Cunningham. 13th time he's had to eat the football this year. The Vikings have got a punt.
And this is a 4-man rush. This is a nickel now. Right here you're going to see Wilson coming from the outside. Renard Wilson is an outside linebacker, but in third down situations, he's a pass rusher, doing a good job against Todd Stussy this time.
And Corey Stringer.
Or Corey Stringer it is on the right side, excuse me.
Punt by Berger. Gibson is deep backpedaling, back to about the 8-yard line. He gets it there, and he'll bring it up. Damon Gibson, who made the team as a rookie free agent out of Iowa. Up to the 24-yard line. They get the 25. Tackle made by another wide receiver, this time for the Viking purple, Robert Tate.
I think we've already seen the 3 longest punts of the year right here by Mitch Berger.
That was a 66-yarder. 7-0 Minnesota. We're back in downtown Minneapolis, where the Vikings lead at 7-0 with Sam White. This is Kevin Harlan. Last time we saw Cincinnati, they ran the ball very well.
Well, it does two things. They go to their strength, Corey Dillon. It also gives their defense a little bit of time to rest. And they're not going into high percentage losses, so they end up with those 3rd and shorts that Neil O'Donnell told us last night he wanted to have more of.
From the 25, 1st and 10. O'Donnell back in. He's a little bit high as that pass was intended for wide receiver Darnay Scott. It'll be 2nd down and 10.
You know, anytime you come out and you got a 1st down pass, usually it's a play action pass because you are in a run pass situation. But if you miss on the 1st down, you immediately put yourself into a predominantly passing situation on 2nd down. And that's when a lot of people say, why do you throw on 1st down? Well, it's the best time to throw because they've got to defend the run first.
O'Donnell was 2nd down and 10. Dillon has it over the right side. Nothing going over there following the block of right guard Anthony Brown. It'll make it 3rd and long.
Bengals' first 2 drives, you know, they have not thrown the ball to number 81, Carl Pickens. We had an interesting conversation last night with Bruce Coslin. He's got a signal from the sideline. The signal is the open arms, the Carl Pickens gesture that was made a few weeks ago that Bruce addressed the team about, and they laugh about it now. They say, look, Carl Pickens wants to win. We want to win. He was frustrated. We even have a signal now to mimic that action.
Donald from the gun, got a block from Sargent, going deep, looking for the aforementioned Pickens, and he makes the catch, but out of bounds. He catches it out of bounds at the Viking 34. Anthony Phillips, the nickelback, was covering the great Carl Pickens. The Bengals have got to punt again.
Let me tell you, Carl Pickens is one of the best wide receivers in the game. Here's the concentration, the catch. The other, he's got to get 2 feet in. As you saw right there, he only got 1 foot inbounds. Looking back for the ball. Coverage is going to watch the receiver. Clearly out of bounds. Good call by the official. Good coverage that time by Anthony Phillips. That ball had to be perfectly thrown.
2nd 3 and out for the Bengals. Lee Johnson, the last Bengal from that Super Bowl team that you coached, is ready to punt it away to David Palmer. Here comes a flag. No time left on the play clock, and maybe it was delay of game.
Well, you know.
Delay of game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Repeat 4th down.
That just makes it a 5-yard shorter punt no matter what happens. Anytime you throw the ball or is a long play down the field, it takes longer to reset the ball. The officials have to bring it all the way back. The ball was thrown deeply down the field. You really don't have a 40-second clock. It cuts down to about a 31 or 32-second clock. And if you don't account for it in your body clock as you huddle up to break the huddle, this is what happens.
Only the 45th penalty on the Bengals this year. They're the least penalized team in the NFL. Palmer. And another fair catch at the 40. Nice hang time for Lee Johnson. He belts that one 38 yards, but offers no return to the ever-dangerous David Palmer. Vikings get it back again. Cunningham is in control as is Minnesota 7-0 over Cincinnati. There's a nice view of gorgeous Minneapolis. We are inside the dome. 7-0 Vikings. They got it again from their own 40. 1st down and 10 yards to go, Evans. There goes Robert Smith. Tackled around the ankles by rookie Brian Simmons. A gain of 4. It'll be 2nd down and 6 for Minnesota.
A lot of young players. And we were talking to Ashley Ambrose, who's defensive cornerback, one of the old hands at 7 years in the league. And he was talking about the fact that they really, as a plan, they wanted to start fast this year. It did not happen, but the team still has a lot of pride. They still believe in Bruce Coslin. This guy has them believing that they can still win it. They're young, and there's a big future ahead.
2nd down, 6. DeLong in the backfield, getting a lead block for Robert Smith. And Smith still on his pins, and he's up to about the 46 on a gain of 2. The aforementioned Ambrose making the tackle. He's free to go after this year. He's a former Pro Bowler back in '96.
Well, you know that every team has a lot of players that are going to go every year in free agency. It's just the way it is. But For the Bengals, Brills, Ambrose, Pickens, Milne, their fullback, Bieniemy, the running back, Marco Battaglia, Ken Blackman, who's injured right now. But there's always going to be that list. Every team's going to have 7 or 8 every year because free agency's built that way.
3rd down and 4 from the 46. Palmer is in the game. You see a blitz?
I see a blitz. Only 2 people with their hand down. Everybody else.
Here it comes. Shade just decks Cunningham. The ball goes fluttering away. It was an incomplete pass. No one could stop Sam Shade, and he forces the Vikings to punt.
You notice there only 2 people had their hand down in a 3-point stance. Everybody else was standing up. There's 1 and 2. Everybody else is standing up, so nobody is an official down lineman except those 2. And it puts tremendous pressures on identifying who you're going to block and who you're not going to block. That was a clean hit, by the way. A good shove to the chest. Nobody went to the head. Nobody went down low where his knees bothered.
Couple of 66-yard punts by Berger today. Punting again. Damon Gibson deep back, circling under this one at about the 10. It bounces him back at him at the 5 and takes a bounce to the 7 where it's down. Robert Tate caught it. Berger again blasting one from 46 yards downfield. He should have a smile on his face. He's had a great day. Report join Jim Nance, Marcus Allen, Brent Jones, and the coach George Seifert. We'll have all the scores and highlights plus a preview of the final round of the Franklin Templeton Shark Shootout, all coming up on the NASDAQ Amex Halftime Report. Worst beginning position today from the 7, 1st and 10. And off goes to Corey Dillon, who picks up a quick 6. Tackle made by Ed McDaniel.
Well, you know, the Bengals, really, the defense has done a good job. 1 drive ended in 7 points. Where the Bengals are losing here is in field position. Berger is doing such a good job. The difference was 20 yards on the first exchange, 19 on the last 2 exchanges. And this time it's backed him up.
There's some talk about changing quarterbacks in the Cincinnati press this week because Paul Justin came in and played so well late against Jacksonville. Not the case. 2nd down 4. Here comes Dillon again, trying to bob up and down on that pogo stick, and he's close to the 20-yard line. Should be a 1st down, a gain of 6. Barry, here's a kid with great agility, coach. 6'1", 225 pounds.
You know, he's averaging 4.5, almost 4.4 yards a carry, but he's got explosion. I think I talked about this last week with Terrell Davis. He explodes into the tackler, so when the tackler goes to wrap his arms around it, there's actually impact coming back at him, and he breaks a lot of tackles that way.
Last year's AFC Offensive Rookie of the Year. It is a 1st down on the run by Dillon. Fake handoff, and then it goes outside as O'Donnell watches Scott snare a pass. Close to a 1st down, about 9.5 on that one, and Corey Fuller made the tackle for the Vikings secondary.
Well, that's what a good running game will do for you. They fake the run inside. Terrific play that time by O'Donnell because there was somebody right in his face, but they're playing the run. As Scott slips out into the flat, there's nobody between him, no underneath coverage. Corey Fuller for the Minnesota Vikings is the closest guy. And it looks like it's going to be very close to a 1st down. You want to make the call? What do you think?
I think he's short.
I think he's short.
That's what I think.
He's 6'1". He's not short.
No. But they're short on this 1st down drive.
Okay. Well, I guess we didn't understand what I was saying then.
I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about they do get the 1st down. A lot I know.
1st down. You know, Douglas MacArthur once said, never give a command that can be understood. Always give commands that cannot be misunderstood.
Well, that fits real well in this move, right? That fits very well. Bruce Consulate lost last week to Jacksonville, 24-11. Trailed 24-0 at halftime, and today Cincinnati hanging in there pretty good, down just 7-0.
Good play on both sides. Minnesota's playing well. Neil O'Donnell is playing well. High percentage completion, 12 touchdowns, only 2 interceptions. That leads the league.
It is 1st and 10 for the Bengals. Tripping O'Donnell, regains his footing. Here comes the hit, and the pass incomplete. Tony Williams decked him, and then a late hit on the sideline, drawing flags as Corey Fuller unloads on Darnay Scott.
The tough call. I tell you what, Corey Fuller is looking at the receiver. He sees him jump for the ball. He is leaving his feet. The ball is way overthrown, and the official felt it was unnecessary.
Kinds of things the Bengals need to happen to them today. Penalties on the Vikings, giving them new life, like right here.
Well, to be honest with you, lesser teams generally don't get these kind of breaks.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, Defense, number 27. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Watch it again.
See, the ball is way overthrown. Now, you've got to have either a step ladder or be an NBA holdout against that one. And the hit comes right at the sideline there. I don't think that's a penalty right there, but what they're doing is they're protecting the safety of the players and overly protecting the safety of the quarterback. I say that in that they really watch it closely. I'm not saying they do it too much because I think it's important to protect them, but that's what that was all about, safety of the player.
Vikings with 6 penalties, as you saw. Remember now, next week the Vikings have Green Bay here, then they play Dallas. Could they be looking beyond the Bengals?
Well, they're trying to. Dennis Green told us last night, it only takes 3 days to get ready for a team. They can do that later.
And off on 1st and 10 goes to Dillon, who picks up 3, tackled by Rudd. To CBS in New York and Jim Nantz.
Well, Kevin and Sam, here's how you face 2nd and 29 if you're Vinny Testaverde, the league's top quarterback. He hits Wayne Crevette, 63-yard touchdown, and the Jets have tied it, and they're driving again on the Colts. Let's go back to you.
Jets trying for the sweep. They haven't swept Indy since 1986.
Wayne Crevette from Hofstra.
2nd down and 6 from the 48. Good block by Dillon outside. It goes to Gibson, who's short of the first down by about a yard. Gibson makes his 17th reception of the season. He caught a touchdown pass against Jacksonville. Undrafted rookie out of Iowa.
Damon Gibson having a little laugh with Corey Fuller, Fuller letting a little bit of his emotions out. You see Jeff Blake coming back in on a 3rd and short. This was something we saw earlier on a 3rd down and a yard to go. He adds the dimension of the run.
Pro Bowler back in 95 was Blake. Lost his job last 5 weeks to Boomer Esiason of 97. 3rd and 1. Blake hit as he throws down the sideline. They're looking for Gibson. There goes a flag at the 23. It'll be against the Vikings. I don't even know how Blake got it away because Dwayne Rudd knocked him into next week. A 2nd major penalty on Minnesota in this drive.
Corey Fuller is playing aggressively. After the penalty, a little bit of anger. He thought he was, the call wasn't correct the first
Pass
time.
interference. Defense, number 27. The ball placed at the spot of the foul. First down.
Corey Fuller just boxes out the receiver. And in the mind of the official, Fuller was not looking back for the ball. That's the only thing there because Fuller has as much right to the ball or to that turf as does Damon Gibson on that play.
O'Donnell is back in.
Well, the only reason that Jeff Blake was in was 3rd and short to add the extra complications to the offense and problems for the defense.
It's finally brought down by Griffith on a gain of 4 as he backpedals to the 22.
And now it's up to Minnesota's defense to contribute right here. When you've got a quarterback that's come in and everyone is saying it's a Herculean effort on his part to play, you've got to try to take the pressure off of him as much as you can. And the Minnesota defense, as good as anybody, especially up the middle and against the run, really have not been able to stop Cincinnati.
2nd down 6, 8th play of the drive. Milne is the fullback and he's in motion. Dillon with a block by Derek Alexander. Tomorrow on CBS, it's Shameless Crossover Monday. Stars of CBS Monday show up on each other's shows, beginning with Cosby, followed by the King of Queens and Monday's #1 comedy, Everybody Loves Raymond. Then Ted Danson stars in Monday's newest hit, Becker, followed by an all-new LA Doctors. That's all tomorrow, all on CBS.
3 wide receivers, 2 backs in the backfield, so they got protection and they got receivers down the field quick.
Nickel counter on defense. 3rd down and 5. It's Bieniemy short inside the 20, but a meager gain of 2.
And I suspect they'll go ahead and get points on the board here, and they are. Sometimes when you spread everybody out like that and you've got the blockers in there and you've been getting the pass rush, a hit like that will just pop through everybody for a big gain. Minnesota's defense is very smart. They're not only good, they're quick, they're fast, they're strong, they're all those things, but they're very smart. And they don't come into a ball game, even though Cincinnati's record is not real good coming in here. They don't come in here taking them lightly.
Pelfrey will try a 37-yard field goal. And away it goes, and the Bengals are on the board. On a drive for Cincinnati that began back at their own 8-yard line and culminates in a 37-yard field goal. It's 7-3, the Vikings.
They created their microprocessor in 1971, and the faster their chips have performed, the faster their company has grown.
The 2-7 Bengals hanging right with the 8-1 Vikings. Kickoff will come from Lee Johnson, who is their punter. At one time, he was a barefoot punter. And you got to go back to 1932 to find the last barefoot punter, a guy named Henry the Hawaiian Hughes.
I didn't coach him, but I did coach Lee Johnson.
And the kickoff a couple yards deep. Here comes David Palmer. And Marco Battaglia is in on that tackle. Return at 25. Let's go back in the archives.
All right, here comes Sam Weiss back in the game now for the Cincinnati Bengals. And Weiss, who played a couple years with Cincinnati.
This is great tape.
And here he sets up in the pocket, throws in the end zone. Touchdown! Sam Weiss, another touchdown. Weiss again rolling onto the pocket, a block from Joyner. Here comes Weiss, the 5, diving in. Touchdown, Sam Weiss.
This is great.
Weiss again back in the... Down goes Weiss, fumbles the football. Weiss is down.
That is wonderful archive tape.
You're sick.
First down and 10 for Cunningham with time. Wide open as receiver Chris Carter.
Yeah. You just make... No, I didn't even see that because I was looking at his ankles. Can we see it again? Forget it. He just kicked it. He didn't land on it.
Yeah, it digs in. Look.
Oh, I was looking at
his ankle.
Comes out of it at that moment, and that's where the ball is. And by the way, thank you so much, because that trip down memory lane.
I didn't know that you preceded Ken Anderson wearing 14.
I was the original 14.
You were the original 14.
And almost destroyed it.
Robert Smith sent up the middle in to New York with his CBS updates.
All right, Kevin, here's a key one in the Central Division. Tennessee hosting Pittsburgh. They beat them up over at Pittsburgh 2 weeks ago. Here, McNair to Willie Davis for the touchdown, and the Oilers have taken the lead with now 6:15 to go second quarter. Let's go back to you.
Very interesting.
I'll tell you what, Tennessee's coming on strong. Pittsburgh had the big ball game last week. Looked as good as they've looked all year long.
Evans in motion, the fullback. This one Cunningham does. It's picked off by the rookie Artrell Hawkins, his first in his rookie career. As he dances free, still on his feet, and he's up to the 48. So Cunningham throws just his 4th interception. Reed, and Hawkins comes up with his first theft in the NFL.
There was motion to the right out there to try to spread him out in 101. Artrell Hawkins, he overplayed it to the deep side that time, expecting the ball to go deep. And Cunningham really can't believe, because he thought he laid that ball up there just where it was supposed to be. And you go after a guy long enough. Now listen, Artrell Hawkins is a good football player. You go after him long enough, he's going to have his moments. And maybe they went after him a little bit too much. You know, if you go after him play after play after a play, every nerve ending's alive for Hawkins. He came up with a big one.
Good point from the 48. 1st and 10. They send Brandon Bennett in motion. O'Donnell with time. Outside he throws. The pass is caught by the aforementioned Bennett. He picks up 3, and that's the number of camps this kid has been in. 95 in the Cleveland camp, 96 in the Chicago camp. Last year in the Miami camp, and he was cut all 3 of those times.
He looked good in preseason. I had a chance to watch the Bengals in the preseason, and he was one of their rising stars. They felt like they had a future guy with Brandon Bennett. Good size at 5'11" and 220.
2nd down 3 inside Viking territory in a 7-3 game. And Bennett rushing up the middle. He's inside the 40 with the first down. Orlando Thomas makes the tackle. The run has been established by the Bengals.
You see the explosion now. Good blocking on the right side by Brown and Anderson. But watch right here. He sees the hole, and he explodes. There's no hesitation in the hole. Straight up the line. We're getting a little test right here of the conditioning of the Minnesota Vikings, because they had no rest between their last series on the field, and the Bengals have been running the ball. That takes a lot of energy away from the team.
And Handoff to Bennett again, who tries to corkscrew his way down to the 38. Picks up a yard on first down. Dwayne Rudd, along with Ed McDaniel, make the tackle.
Neil O'Donnell that time broke the huddle, got to the line of scrimmage, and they went on a quick count. As soon as they got up there and everyone was set, you have to be set for 1 second, the ball comes up quickly. What that does is it keeps your for that snap, the defense probably wasn't ready. For the next snap, the defense will get ready earlier. They're in a flex position a little bit longer, and over the period of the game, it wears them down.
Second down and 9. Bennett again. Blocked from Graham, and he's to the 37-yard line, picking up perhaps 2. Dwayne Rudd makes the tackle. The NFL comes alive on CBS Sportsline. Log on to the Players Chat Thursday night at 9 o'clock Eastern. Chat live with Jaguar quarterback Mark Brunell. Wonderful, wonderful guy and a great quarterback. CBS.sportsline.com on the web and on AOL.
See, that is it's an interesting tool right there, because once you get online with CBS Sportsline, you can go anywhere, talk about and learn about any team in the league.
Third down and 7. Bieniemy in the backfield gives him a block, and the pass ricochets off the palms of Damon Gibson. It's incomplete. Gibson probably should have had it. However, had he caught the ball, he was still 4 yards shy and surrounded by Vikings.
I don't think he makes the first down that time. What they were trying to do is get deep in behind him. Was Darnay Scott trying to go deep in behind. It wasn't there. Ball was thrown a little quick. It looks like Bruce Cosner was saying, let that play develop. And as you can see, Bruce, who got mad at Neil last week against Jacksonville, but there were no hard feelings. They walked. See the little smile right at the end? His body language, I'll tell you. And you're just saying to the player, look, I'm just trying to help you. I'm trying to get you in. We don't have time to discuss it much. I want to say it and get it over with.
Lee Johnson's punt to David Palmer is high. Another fair catch made by Palmer. They've really taken him out of the game on these punt returns. He's at the 12, 25-yard punt, but a beauty inside, deep inside Viking territory by Lee Johnson. Monday on CBS, doctors aren't supposed to give into temptation. But Ted Danson is being put to the test. Don't miss the new hit comedy, Becker, right after Raymond. Monday on CBS. It's a great show.
I'm sorry, I have to laugh at that one because, well, Ted Danson's one of my Chevy Chase, Ted Danson, and anything with Mel Brooks. I'm going to laugh.
You're all over it. No laughing matter for the Vikings. They're struggling.
The Vikings didn't think this was going to happen this early, that the Bengals would put up this kind of fight, but they've come in here and played well. And they've played well against the other tough teams in the league like Denver and Pittsburgh. Here comes the blitz.
On the 12, first and 10, and off for Robert Smith. Tackled on the play by Takeo Spikes, the leading Cincinnati Bengal tackler.
Here's Brad Johnson. This was his injury. See, he falls on the right hand there, pushed the thumb back. You really didn't know that he had a bad injury. He's kind of just flexing it a little bit there to see if, you know, it maybe pulled it out a little bit. Those things don't look real bad, but boy, once you lose any part of your throwing arm, throwing hand, you're in trouble.
After watching the tape, Johnson came out and said that perhaps the play before, when he was brought down having to cushion his fall, he may have cracked the bed. There he is.
Either that or set it up.
Exactly. Second down and 9. A slingshot throw upfield by Cunningham to Randy Moss. You know, Moss in the first 5 games caught 22 passes and 6 touchdowns. In the last 3 games, just 5 receptions for 72 yards. Defenses have truly been rolling coverage toward him, but today gets his second reception from Cunningham.
Well, he's still dangerous. He's a young rookie. He's going to have spells where it's not really a slump, but where he's not going to catch as many passes. Remember this, too. He's coming out of college. He's hitting the wall. They're used to playing only 11 games.
2-minute warning.
If you were to take away all the luxury cars on this road, priced above $30,000, without such luxuries as Bose CD audio system, leather seats, and a satellite-linked navigation system, what you'd have left.
By 2 games over the Packers, who play late this afternoon against the Giants. We're at the 2-minute warning. And on first down, flags go down as Cunningham was setting up to throw the ball. Ed Hockley stopped it. This should be the 8th penalty of the day on Minnesota, which has killed him. Absolutely killed him.
For the snap, full start, offense number 73, 5-yard penalty, it's still first down.
That's their Pro Bowl left tackle, Todd Stussy.
Probably as strong as any man on that offensive line, but Randall Cunningham tried to come up to the line and go on a quick count. and everybody was up, getting set, and Randall paused a little bit longer than Stussy thought he would, and that's why they had the penalty.
So march it back 5 yards. First down and 15 yards to go from the 25. Blitz is on by Ross. Runs into Cunningham, who has to throw it to Moss, who comes back to the ball, makes the catch at the 39, tackled by Ambrose. A pickup of 14 on 1st and 15.
The big play there was Cunningham, because Adrian Moss was right in his face, driving straight back into the passer. And this is the kind of a series that can mess up a good half by the Bengals right here. They played them 7-3, and here the 2-minute drill. If they get points right here and get momentum going into the half, Minnesota really has the big edge.
Vikings have all their timeouts. 2nd down and 1. Handoff goes to Smith. Then he picks up the first down. He's had 3 100-yard games in the last 4 weeks. You see Wilson and Ross coming off the pop. NASDAQ Amex halftime report. Jim Nance, Marcus Allen, Brent Jones, and George Seifert. The scores, the highlights. A busy day in the NFL is now all division races beginning to take shape.
Well, now it comes down to where you start to look at those tiebreakers and everything else. The Minnesota Vikings very calm here, going back into the huddle, not in a big hurry. They've got all their timeouts.
Glover a block for Cunningham, who slings the pass to the side, caught by Carter, walks the tightrope, and picks up 9 when he probably should have just gained 5. Hawkins was beaten.
You know, when you're in a 2-minute drill right now, watch, we're going right up here to the out. He's just going to be sitting on the outside. Cunningham looks down the field or to the outside, whichever has the right there. Do what he did right there. Get out of bounds and stop the clock and still save the timeout.
So 3 timeouts for both teams. 50 seconds to play in the half. 2nd down and 1 from the 49 of Cincinnati. More blocking for Cunningham. All day the throw. Going deep. He's got Moss. Out of bounds. Stepped out of bounds at the 2. Wipe it away.
Down the sideline. That was a shot. I used to call him a shot. We're just going to throw it down there. We're going to take our shot and let the other guy, in this case Moss, make the big play. Good coverage. This is just one-on-one. There's only 2 people on the field as far as this pass is concerned at this point. But you see the catch, the next foot, he didn't get one in. Good call by the official who's standing right there. You know, those guys have to be in pretty good condition themselves. That was a good little run for the official to be, even though he starts about 20 yards down the line.
It was a great call. And a timeout. Vikings burn their first of the half, and Cunningham will take the stroll to the sideline.
You know, experience is crucial in the National Football League anywhere. But look at this. Now, quarterbacks with 25 games or less, 25, their age is 25, batting .351. If they're 34 years, and Cunningham would be in that category, almost 2 or 3 out of 4 times they hit the field, they win football games. That's why you see so many quarterbacks recycle. They've been there before.
Here's Brian Billick, the offensive coordinator. My prediction is he will be a head coach in the NFL next season.
Well, I think he's certainly going to be considered. There's no question about that. He runs the offense, then he hands that one off to him. He's a very bright guy. He was in San Francisco when I was coaching there in 1979 with Bill Walsh, worked actually in the public relations department, has helped Bill Walsh co-sponsor or co-write a book, has written several books actually.
But wouldn't it be great to be an offensive player in his system and get to showcase your talents like Cunningham has done? I feel like he's done a great job with this team.
Well, you know, you put a good coach with good players and you've got an explosive offense, and that's what they have here in Minnesota.
And that says a lot about this organization. They really don't extend their arm and bring in questionable free agents. They stick with the core. They built through the draft. They've got a real solid team. One of the top 2 in the NFL coming into this weekend. 3rd and 1. Smith hit. And Kimo von Oelhoffen and Renard Wilson shut him down. It's 4th down and about 3. What would you do here?
Well, I tell you what, I don't understand what they've done up to this point. They haven't been looking, they didn't look like they were in a 2-minute drill. This is a straight hit up the middle. The Bengals were actually playing for a pass. I don't know if they know what they're going to do right here. I guess if you're not going to try to score in a 2-minute situation, you probably go ahead and punt. Don't leave Cincinnati in a position to have the short field.
Timeout taken by the Vikings. Monday on CBS. Is Raymond a prisoner in his own marriage? Find out as King of Queens Kevin James drops in on Everyone Loves Raymond. It's all part of a shameless crossover Monday. I think I'll leave that one alone. Right here on CBS.
A lot of Mondays are shameless Mondays, aren't they? That's just the way.
That's one way to look at it.
The way it is. 29 seconds left. The Minnesota Vikings went into this entire series as if it was a normal first quarter kind of a series. There was no rush. Didn't try to use a lot of timeouts. Used one. Did get out of bounds on one occasion. Looked like, yeah, but they lined up with their regular offense on the field, and then as the timeout came to a close, they sent the punt team out, and offense came off the field.
Probably the wise choice.
I think it's the wise choice right now. 29 seconds. Don't give Cincinnati a short field. At least make them go a long way.
Berger's had a great day punting. Here's another rocket. Gibson under it. Went for the corner. This could be a beauty. Let's see where they mark it out. At the 5. What a punt by Berger. 45 yards there. His first 2 punts sailed 66 yards apiece. He's been terrific.
They put this day on your calendar because I never thought I'd say this. This guy's actually fun to watch as he's a punter.
He was with the Cincinnati practice squad back for 7 weeks in the 1994 season. Well, next Sunday, doubleheader day on CBS. Some outstanding games in the early game. A lot of you will see Seattle-Dallas, but most of you will see the game of the day, Jacksonville and Pittsburgh, where the Colts take on Buffalo. Then Oakland and Denver, Baltimore, Cincinnati, and the Chiefs trying to keep above water will play San Diego. It all begins with Jim Nantz, Brent Jones, Bonnie Bernstein, Marcus Allen, and George Seifert on the NFL Today. All next week, all on CBS.
The Bengals are going to kill it, but you know, next week there are a lot of teams playing each other, both of them in contention and battling each other, either within the division or within the conference, for home field advantage, if not their division title. Big week next week.
Rivalry Sunday. Cincinnati, as you see, Cunningham, a little bit of a limp there in his stride. He was operated on with a bone-clearing operation on Monday, practice Wednesday, and here he is starting for the Vikings today, and that is the end of the first half with Minnesota leading on a Cunningham run, 7-3. Stay tuned for all the scores and highlights in the NASDAQ Amex halftime report after this message and a word from your local CBS station.
Past 2 minutes. I personally think, and this is speculation on my end, but I think Cunningham is bothered by that knee because they had a full 2-minute drill. They had good field position. Everybody was out on the field healthy. They had all their timeouts, perfect 2-minute situation, and they really did not run a 2-minute drill. They went back to the huddle. They didn't hurry things along. They ran the ball late, pretty well just ended that play. They might have wanted to get in and let Randall have rest that knee a little bit. You know that he was going to come in and ice it down when the ball game was over with, but they thought his ball game would be 1, possibly 2 quarters, and then Jay Fiedler would be in here and ready to go. But the Bengals are playing this one close, 7-3 ball game, and they may not feel like they've got an opportunity to put Jay Fiedler in the game at this point. Bruce Coslett has gotten his Bengals ready today. No doubt about that one. 7-3 score. Passing yards going to the Vikings, as well as the total yards, but pretty well even on the time of possession and pretty well even, of course, in that important stat, and that's the score. Both teams a little bit late coming out at the half, and the officials are trying to get them to settle down and get going. Lots of people blowing whistles saying it's time to play football.
That's finable.
It is finable if they're not there on time, but generally the officials understand that it takes a little time to reassemble after the half.
And the quarterbacks today, O'Donnell has basically been the man for the Bengals, although we have seen some Jeff Blake. And for Minnesota, it has been all Randall Cunningham.
And we got word just a moment ago that Ashley Ambrose twisted his knee late in the half there on this pass down the sideline, and his return is questionable. The starting cornerback for the Bengals.
Vikings will kick off. Cincinnati will get it back, and I'd have to say, through one half of football, this is quite a surprise.
Well, you know, it's a surprise anytime a team comes in with a record that's not very flattering, and the other team is one count away from being undefeated, and everyone's talking about the Minnesota Vikings going to the Super Bowl, but that's how even this league is right now. All teams in the league, whether records are good or not, have good players, and those players have a lot of pride.
Kickoff by Berger, and this one is crushed out of the end zone. 21 touchbacks for Berger this year. Neil O'Donnell will open up in the second half for the Cincinnati Bengals at quarterback.
Boy, Berger not only punting the ball, but pushing the ball back into the end zone. I remember when Jim Mora was coaching down in New Orleans, he used to say, because they had Morton Anderson kicking off and he put it in the end zone a lot and the opponents had to march 80 yards, that in that dome it was very difficult, percentage-wise, very difficult to march 80 yards when you've got the crowd noise inside like that. But it takes somebody putting it in the end zone like Mitch Berger, and of course field position is so important in this game, and the punting game that performance he's put on today has been spectacular.
From the 20 with Scott in motion. First down and 10 yards to go. A pull by Anderson, a run by Brandon Bennett, and he picks up a yard. We understand that Corey Dillon is in the locker room with the left hip pointer, but they say he will return.
The hip pointer can be very painful, and once you quiet it down, you can give it some medication, and you come back and play on it that day. You're usually out for the rest of the week, getting ready the following week, but you can fight through it, unless, of course, it's more serious than just the hip pointer. It's falling on the hip, bouncing off that turf.
Second down 9. McGee's in motion. Play action by O'Donnell. He throws to the fullback, Brian Milne, who's to the 25. His 12th reception of the year. Tackle made by McDaniel. Gain of 3.
Look at Bennett's block right here now. You see coming up the middle, whack, knocks him straight down. That gives Neil O'Donnell time to get the ball out to Brian Milne for that nice, steady pickup. One break of the tackle away from being a big gain that time.
Interesting number there. 3-0 the Bengals in the last 3 games in domes. Here they face a 3rd and 5 from the 25. Blitz is on, picked up well. Eric Bieniemy gets a wonderful block up front. A flag is down in the 21. Block up front, thrown by guard Mike Goff. 63.
There was no foul on the play. The play results in a first down.
Bengals continue to move it, as we have just found out that Ashley Ambrose will not play the rest of the day. Dillon, they think, will come back.
Well, I tell you, that flag was a little unusual. I never saw it. I think that one must have fallen out of the pocket of one of the officials, and they just picked it up. Ed Hockley does a good job of making sure that everybody's on the same, all of his officials, 7 of them, are on the same page, and that they don't make mistakes or make the wrong announcement. They're ready before they do.
First down and 10 from the 31. Hand off again to Bennett. Blocked by Bush, and Bennett cuts inside across the grain and works his way to the 37, picking up 6 yards. Talking about Hockey League, we were in the truck before the game. He brings a small tape recorder where he's getting this broadcast now. When he flies back to Phoenix tonight, he'll watch his game. He will go over and see how his crew is done. Then tonight and tomorrow and on Tuesday, Jerry Seaman, a Minneapolis resident at one time, will watch in New York and grade this crew and everybody on this crew going into next week's game.
Well, there's a lot of review, and there are layers of review to try to get it right. Officiating is so important.
Second down 4. Bennett across the grain, breaks a tackle from Thomas, dives for a first down to the 43. Tackled by Hitchcock, who chopped him down after a gain of 6.
I told you, I mentioned earlier that Bennett was a guy in training camp that you could see a lot of promise. The blocking up front has been terrific. They're getting him started. But watch Brandon Bennett cut back. That is a terrific move right there. It's hard to get up into the hole and try to accelerate, stop, and then go sideways.
Kid didn't make Cleveland, Chicago, or Miami last training camp, but he makes Cincinnati's. He's carried 6 times for 25 yards. They can look out, here comes Randall. O'Donnell spins away and throws it away, and there's a flag. O'Donnell was decked at the 35, and how Randall didn't get him, I do not know.
Ed Hockley throws the flag, and he's now going over to see if the other officials think there was a receiver in the area. Of course, Neil O'Donnell would like to plead that case before the decision's made.
If had he gone outside the tight ends, he would have had a chance to do that.
Well, that protects the quarterback outside the tight end, but he was clearly in the
There was no intentional grounding on the play. Number 85 was in the area of the pass. Brings up second down.
Good call. This is a good crew, and you can see why they're so highly regarded.
Now watch John Randall right here. Coming up the field, completely makes the blocker miss. He's right there in the grass. if there was any danger of the quarterback getting hit by somebody else, they blow the whistle. But when it's one-on-one, they allow the quarterback to try to squirm loose, and that's what happened right there. Another thing, another compliment to Ed Hockley on that one. He threw the flag, and then he went to confirm whether it was right or wrong, and then just picks it up. If it's not right, he makes it right.
The good ones do it.
Yeah, it would be hard to go and talk about it, then throw the flag late.
Second down, 10 from the 42. There's a block for Sargent, setting up a screen pass for the enemy, but reading it well, Dwayne Rudd. Wonderful play and a gain of 1.
Dwayne Rudd has terrific vision. He just sees everything out there and a lot of speed. We talked to him last night. We said, which kind of a running back would you like to go up against? The guy that also has good vision, has that good quickness and kick, or the big guy? He said the guys that are toughest are the ones with vision because they can make you miss the first time. The big guys, at least you go in there and pound them, hold on till somebody.
As a starter, but when he was showing such great promise in practice, they moved McDaniel inside, put Rudd outside, and put Brady on the bench. Brady no longer will. It's third down and 9. O'Donnell off the fingertips. Another drop pass by rookie free agent wide receiver Damon Gibson. Incomplete. McDaniel was all over McDonald and O'Donnell, and they got to kick the ball, punt the ball to the Cincinnati Bengals.
The O'Donnell had no time to look that one over. He had to let the ball go when he did. Get it. If it doesn't work, at least don't take a loss. Should be good field position here with the Bengals punting at the about the 43-yard line.
Lee Johnson will punt. Began with the old Houston Oilers back in 1985. David Palmer held ineffective most of the day because of one fair catch after another. Gets this one, breaks a tackle. Great special teams by the Bengals, led by Greg Myers, their safety. 51-yard punt. They limit Palmer to a 3-yard return.
Greg Myers and Sam Shade have a lot of tackles on defense and on special teams.
Timeout. You've got your glasses on Randall Cunningham.
Well, I'm watching him because at the end of the half there, I speculated there might be something wrong. The knee's bothering him a little bit, the way they conducted the 2-minute drill. Let's see what he does on this drive.
From the 11, first and 10, Cunningham decked as he throws a pass, which is caught out in the flat at about the 16-yard line. It's a gain of 8. Chris Carter makes the catch.
Michael Bankston hits Cunningham right on the throw. Just a straight pivot. And if you notice, when Carter planted, he came back to the ball. The ball was thrown in behind him. If both receiver and defender are standing side by side and the ball is thrown away from the defender, the receiver can still make the catch. You don't get much of a run, though.
Carter, the 6th all-time receiver in NFL history. Second down and 1 from the 19. Robert Smith, the Ronald Long block. Not much there. They've done a wonderful job in shutting up Smith this afternoon.
As you watch Randall Cunningham up close, he doesn't look like he's got full extension. It really, he looks like he's just kind of in not a squat, obviously, but just he's being very careful, just ginger as he walks around out there with each step he takes.
And they have no Brad Johnson out with the broken thumb until at least mid part of December. They've got a kid who's on the bench who's only thrown 4 passes in his NFL career. Another kid who has never played in the NFL. Horde is in on a 3rd and 1 for Cunningham. Quick throw outside, caught by Carter. Randall out to the 48-yard line. Gain of 27. He made a move on Thomas Randolph that left Randolph on the floor.
Watch for Thomas Randolph right here. Watch. He comes up, he falls down, much like Artrell Hawkins did a week ago against Jacksonville, and Bengal fans are getting tired of the fall downs out there in the secondary because they always result in big gains. And now Chris Carter's slow getting up. In fact, he hasn't gotten up at all.
Today he made his 90th consecutive start. Injury timeout, Vikings.
Motor, the all-new 1999 Galoft. Wake up and drive. And by the United States Postal Service.
Beautiful Lake Camp. It's much more than that, but everyone so pristine, so gorgeous as you see. Chris Carter being helped off the field, and that is not good.
Well, a top player on their team anytime, and he is obviously in pain. Looks like it might be his back the way they're helping him off the field. Cunningham, on the other hand, playing with an injured knee, 7 for 7 on first down for 93 yards. first down passing is so important because it keeps the running game, it keeps the defense honest against the running game.
Reed is in, couple tight ends, Smith and Evans in the backfield. 1st and 10 on the Carter reception. They bring the blitz. Cunningham is ready. They get him, and down he goes at the 37-yard line. The second one of the day for the Bengal defense, and the first of the career of young rookie free agent Adrian Ross.
And the Bengals are going to bring from the outside. This is Renard Wilson right here. Just powers through the block, or at least the attempted block by Charles Evans. And this is when you're Denny Green on the sideline or Brian Billick, you're flinching right now because, look, everything's down around the knees and ankles of Randall Cunningham.
Ross was 3rd string a week ago. He's replacing Steve Foley, who is replacing the injured James Francis. His first NFL start today. 2nd and 19. Set up the screenplay. Evans with a block from McDaniel. And a tackle made by the trailing linebacker Brian Simmons. Another rookie, but it gets a gain of 10 for the Viking offense.
And the injury on the field out there for the Bengals. Clyde Simmons is down. The Bengals are blitzing. You see they're bringing everybody. That's Greg Myers. You see him coming from the outside. And when you blitz, you run the gamble that if somebody's free behind the blitz, he's going to have the long run. But what the Bengals have going for them is they got speed at the linebackers. Brian Simmons, Takeo Spikes, all of them very fast.
Another injury timeout. As Cunningham needs to get to the 43 with the Van Wheel shoved out of bounds by Thomas Randall. He did get the first down. It is shocking. It is not. It's amazing. At 35 years old and operated on Monday, he looks like he's 25 and he's never had a scar put on his body.
Look at the stride. This is the important thing. He's taking big strides. That means that he can reach out with that knee and the muscles that, of course, are holding everything together right now, and enough speed to get there. And then the second effort. This is one tough quarterback.
Two-time NFL MVP Randall Cunningham. 7th play of the drive. Vikings lead by 4. Robert Smith outside with room to roam, and he's got a first down, a gain of about 11 yards. Randolph and Artrell Hawkins shoved him out of bounds. That's the Robert Smith we're used to seeing.
It is, but I'll tell you what, going back to that last play that Cunningham made, that may be the play of the game, making that first down on 3rd and long. Now here's to go right back to the running game again. Good solid block, and just open up and give him a chance, but this is more than a chance right here. There's nobody around. Anybody can run through that hole, but you give it to a good running back like Robert Smith, you're going to make extra yards. But I think the play before, when Randall Cunningham made that first down on 3rd and long, that was the play of the game to this point.
Andre Purvis takes the place of Clyde Simmons. 1st and 10 from the Bengal 31. Smith again. Remember now, the Vikings are going up against the number 30 run defense in the NFL, but they haven't looked like the last place defense at all today.
Not at all. And the Bengals have been giving up 30.8 points a ball game. The Vikings at home are averaging 32.2 a game. Totally different look here today. It shows what a team can do. When they put their mind to it and their focus is right, even a team with a poor record can come up and play the best team or one of the best teams in the NFL.
Chris Carter back in with his 5 receptions, 2nd down and 9. Cunningham with time, throws, looking for Reed, intercepted again by Hawkins. His 2nd of the day, the 2nd of his career, and he effectively shuts down Cunningham. There is a flag down on the field at the 35. It appears to be against the Vikings, and the Bengals defense has held again. This is stunning.
Now Jake Reed just turns the wrong way. The ball is thrown back to the inside. Artrell Hawkins finds it. See, Reed turned to the outside. The ball's thrown inside.
It's sponsored by AC Delco Automotive Parts. If you're not asking for it, you're asking for it. And by MetLife. Get Met, it pays.
Randall Cunningham, when he came off the sideline, no trainer looked at him, but Brian Billick went over and they talked about things. I said that it was a bit of the most important play was his scramble to the right. He nullified it when he threw the interception.
Now let's see if the Bengal offense can get on track. O'Donnell right to work on 1st and 10. Got the time to throw and slings it upfield to Scott. Spun around at the 31. And he picks up 7. Tackle made by cornerback Jimmy Hitchcock. We have not seen a lot of Carl Pickens today.
Well, he'd only thrown in his direction one time. It was incomplete. He was out of bounds. And Carl Pickens is a weapon at any time. But remember, when you've got a weapon like Carl Pickens, the other team knows you have the weapon, and that's who they defend. They roll out, they bump and run, and you go away from the rollout.
Second down, 3. Nothing going there. They gave it to Dillon, and he was wrapped up by Tony Williams. The fans, check out the NFL and America Online at keyword Team NFL. And on the web at NFL.com. Log on Tuesday night at 9 o'clock Eastern Time to chat live with Jets quarterback Vinny Testaverde on America Online. It's 3rd and 3 for Onama.
Another one of those third downs, a long 3 as well. 3 wide receivers in the ball game, and they leave a tight end to block it.
Nickel secondary for Minnesota. Empty backfield now with Dillon in motion. Short drop, quick throw. They go to Pickens, and they get the first down as he tries to wrestle his way free. He's up to the 38. Huge play as Hitchcock makes the tackle.
Let me tell you how good a catch that was. He never saw the ball until it was almost on it. And Pickett's going to go to the outside right here. He doesn't see the release by the quarterback. Neil O'Donnell took a 3-step drop, unloaded the ball. The ball was halfway to him when Pickett's head turned around, but he had those quick hands. And, you know, I used to have drills where the guys wouldn't see the release. They had to turn around with their fingers open and their hands ready.
The leading receiver in the NFL, Carl Pickens, with just 1 catch today. 1st and 10 from the 39. O'Donnell again with play action. This time he goes to the fullback, Mill. He's got room to rumble, and he's down to the 42. Griffith the tackle, a gain of 17.
We're seeing the running game paying off in the passing game. Token fake here on 1st down right here. Now watch the linebacker. See the linebackers freeze? Then they turn, and when they turn and run, that's when you open up somebody that's going to slip out late. In this case, it's Brian Mills.
He's got a couple today.
Well, he's a good receiver out of the backfield. He's a guy that was hurt early in the training camp period, first part of the season.
1st and 10 from the Viking 43. It's Dillon with the block from Graham. That opens up room, and he's finally brought down by outside linebacker Dwayne Rudd, but not after a gain of 7 by Dillon.
Good blocking up front. Brills, Graham, Sargent, all of them opening up the hole. And when Dillon carries the ball, or when Brandon Bennett was carrying the ball, you see no indecision in their mind. They hit the hole.
Jets with the nice 13-point lead on the Colts. Miami in a low-scoring affair in the Carolinas over the Panthers. And Buffalo on top of New England. Flutie Magic alive in Orchard Park. Here, 7-3, Minnesota. 2nd down and 3. He's hit. Randall knocks the ball away. It's loose. It's a wide ball. Picked up by Rudd, and there he goes. Touchdown, Vikings.
Sack by Randall. The arm wasn't coming forward. There was no beanbag thrown. If the beanbag was thrown, it would have been a fumble. There's no beanbag thrown right here, but they ruled it a fumble. You see, the officials, no one in the area picked up this time by Dwayne Rudd.
So you're saying it was a pass?
Well, I'm saying that no official ruled it a fumble, that's for sure, because immediately they're taught you drop the little green beanbag when there's a fumble.
That, to me, looked like forward motion. Anderson with the extra point. And the Vikings have gone up on Cincinnati 14-3. And Cincinnati was moving the ball. But Dwayne Rudd with a huge fumble recovery. It's Minnesota on top. 3 kickoffs by Berger, 3 touchbacks. He has been fantastic.
Well, what we have right now is re-entry of the crowd into this ball game, and it's off of this play right here. It's the arm going forward. The arm is clearly going forward. The officials have ruled apparently the ball wasn't in the hand when the arm was going forward, and then Dwayne Rudd, of course, picking it up, going the whole distance. In a way, it's a shame because it's a close call, and Bruce Cousins had his share of those Tuesday afternoon phone calls where they say, "Gee, I'm sorry, that was we missed that one." That one was a crucial miss.
On the 21st and 10, Dillon tries to cut the corner, and that one is stopped by Jimmy Hitchcock, the ex-Patriot. To CBS in New York in Jim Nance.
All right, thank you. Remersmont for the touchdown. And now the Bills are up 10. Final minute of the third quarter. Let's go back to you.
Remersmont looks like he's been playing tight end his entire career, but at one time he was a Michigan Wolverine quarterback and then switched when Todd Collins was there. Second down and 9. Brandon Bennett, no place to run, no place to hide. Dashed at the 17. Robert Griffith up the middle at the tackle. Griffith has had a great season.
Don't tell me there isn't anything to momentum. It was just taken away. The Bengals were moving the ball well. It was just an even fight between the two teams. Two good football teams playing well. And then that turnaround fumble and pick up for the touchdown. And it looks like Minnesota has energy they didn't have earlier in the day.
And they need it because they got Green Bay next week and then Dallas after that. This is a very important game for the Vikings, who lead by 2 games in the Central coming into today. 3rd and 11. Time for O'Donnell. All day to throw. Now it comes at him from behind. Derek Alexander.
O'Donnell's going to move to the right. And what they're doing is they're just moving the pocket. They're changing where the landmark is that the rush cut from. But O'Donnell, a veteran, knows that he doesn't have that much time. I think if Bruce Cosler's frustrated with anything with Neil O'Donnell, it's probably that. Just go ahead, make the decision, let the ball go, instead of trying to think a little bit too much on occasion.
3rd sack registered today by the Vikings. Johnson will punt. And gets it high, but not very long. Palmer under it at the 42. Trying to dance away from Hundon, which he does. Finds a seam, which he does. And here we go. Inside the 35 to the 34. Tackled by Adrian Ross. A 44-yard punt. Returned 24 yards by Palmer. Tuesday on CBS, JAG officers fight for justice. This week, one of their own will be accused of a horrible crime. Don't miss the trial of the century. An all-new JAG, the hottest show on CBS, Tuesdays at 8, 7 Central.
You do what I do. You sit there with a nice glass of hot tea or something like that and watch JAG. But it's a trip. It really is.
Not hot tea, but yeah.
You don't drink hot tea.
No. Cold tea.
But you're watching the show.
I'm watching the show because I know you are.
Moon over our heads now.
There's a moon. I don't know if it's over our heads. Best beginning field position for the Vikings at the Bengal 35.
And the momentum continues. That one play, the fumble pickup touchdown, has changed everything, the play of both sides of the ball. Now defense, of course, has to come through for the Bengals.
Nice seam for Robert Smith as he slithers to the 29. Sam Shade, the tackle.
Here's what happens now, Kevin, a little bit. Defensively, they know they've got to make a play. So you start to take a little bit of a chance that you weren't taking earlier. You were doing a good job defensively. Dick LeBeau's group, Bruce Coslet, the head coach there. But now you start to take, or are willing to take a little bit more of a chance to try to see if you can't get the ball back, create a turnover, create a situation where you knock them out of field goal range. And in doing so, of course, you run the risk of the big play against you.
Second down, long 4. Horde is in the backfield. Carter's in motion. Horde gets the call. Deck keeps his footing and is to the 26. In 1996, when Robert Smith was injured, as he has been many times in his career with the Vikings, they got this guy Horde, who had been let go by Carolina. And Horde has been around the block a few times in the NFL, but he came here, solidified the position, and now is a perfect complement to Smith in this Viking offense.
Well, this is his 128th ball game. He's actually played in more ball games than any of the other running backs for the Minnesota Vikings. But he is a role player, and we kept hearing last night when we talked to Denny Green and all the players for the Minnesota Vikings. Everyone has a role. Everybody has to play it.
It's 3rd and 2 from the 27. It's Palmer, a great third down back, who on his last 12 third down tries has converted 11 of them. Incredible. Takeo spikes the tackle. Nonetheless, a first down for the Vikings and Palmer.
Well, Palmer's one of those explosive guys that you just can't let him go because he can go the distance.
That's the end of the third quarter with the score. Vikings 14, Bengals 3. We'll return to the Metrodome after this message and a word from your local CBS station. The defense can hold and keep the Bengals in this game.
Well, that's what happens. be Neil O'Donnell on the bench without his helmet, and when the coach is going over play selection, he's really asking Jeff Blake, tell me the ones you feel real good about. We'll start there, and then we'll go on once you get loose.
From the 23, 1st and 10. Fake handoff. Sprinting is Randall Cunningham. Outside to the tight end Glover, the ex-Oakland Raider. And he's close to a first down, a pickup of about 8.5. Adrian Ross the tackle.
Here's the play of the ball game. Let's look at it a little bit slowed down now. Neil O'Donnell drops back to pass. Here comes Randall around the right side. John Randall. The motion has started now. The motion started. As he comes forward, does he have the ball in his hand with the motion going forward? That is very, very close. The part I take issue with is that the officials were not decisive. There wasn't an immediate bag throw saying fumble.
2nd down 1, and the first catch by a Viking tight end today. Smith dancing his way, and Ross gets around his ankles and brings him down.
And now the Bengal defense, they have to know, as professionals, here's where the ball game is decided right now. They've got to keep them in the ball game, even if they give up 3 points, and they're well within field goal range right now. Stay within 2 scores of the Minnesota Vikings and hope that Jeff Blake can spark something for the Bengals when they come back on offense.
I mentioned it before. They have not looked like the 30th ranked defense in the NFL, let alone the 30th ranked against the run in the NFL, with the great Robert Smith stymied today. 3rd and 1. From the 14. It's Horn. They'll try to bulldoze, and let's see where his forward progress takes him. Michael Bankston up the middle with the hit.
The spot looks short. I'm sure they're going to measure this one, and Minnesota probably has for the measurement if there's any question. Randall Cunningham is showing about a 6 or an 8 inch, and they're going for the 3 points, which gives them the 2 full touchdown lead.
What would you do?
I think at home right now, the way the defense is playing, I'd go for the field goal. Make sure you get that cushion. Don't give the momentum back to Cincinnati with something on a 4th down play that wasn't successful.
So here's Gary Anderson, who played for San Francisco a year ago, and going back to last season, has made 22 consecutive field goals. It's from 32 yards away, and it's up. Making 23 in a row for Gary Anderson. And the Vikings annex their lead with 12:48 to play in the 4th quarter. It's the Division League Vikings 17-3.
It started as a curiosity.
I seen him around in the neighborhood.
A curiosity that became a mystery.
He is a bit of a mystery.
A mystery wrapped in a riddle carrying a what?
Wow, what's that, honey?
Oh, it's a Borg.
A board?
Yeah.
A Borg from Star Trek?
What's the Borg doing?
An invader from the 24th century?
A Borg is a cybernetic organism. It's a collective organism.
But where does a kid from Brooklyn find a cybernetic organism?
He got it on the web.
To tee it up after his teammate Gary Anderson just knocked in a 32-yard field goal. Berger, what a day. 3 kickoffs, 3 touchbacks, and a couple of 66-yard punts. I'd say he's earned every penny for the Vikings today.
He's been a weapon.
And the kickoff, long and high and deep, and touchback number 4. Tremaine Mack to a knee. We'll leave it there. Well, Saturday on CBS. How can you make TV's #1 new drama even better? At Arsenio Hall. Arsenio Hall teams up with Sammo Hung on an all-new episode of Martial Law, Saturdays on CBS. Jeff Blake is the new Bengal quarterback.
Jeff Blake, now listen, this is a guy that has started for the Bengals. He's had 52 starts. Interestingly enough, in those 52 starts, he only had 2 games out of 52 where they had a 100-yard rusher. You've got to have a little running game when you're playing quarterback.
With the touchback at the 20, it's 1st down and 10. Blake fires a pass, which is dropped by Darnay Scott, stretched out at the 24. To CBS in New York, and an update with Jim Nance.
All right, Kevin and Sam, let's not give up on the Patriots quite yet. Drew Bledsoe in the high winds to Tony Simmons. Little Heisman move at the goal line for the touchdown. First time in the end zone today for New England. And we have 11:15 to go in the game. Back to you.
It was last week where New England was belted by Atlanta in Foxborough. They need today in the worst way, as does Blake on 2nd and 10. Corey Dillon with a great move And he's out dancing to the 32, a gain of 12, and Orlando Thomas makes the Viking tackle.
And this will be a first down. This is the play that's going to start to the right and then bend back. Now watch the vision. We talked about vision being an important aspect of running. It's not just power and it's not just elusiveness. You've got to see where things are so that you can get there before they close up.
Remember, Dillon has fumbled last couple of weeks, including last week in Jacksonville when they returned it for a touchdown. He's got to hold on to the ball. End around Pickens. He gets a lead block from the center Grills and out at the 32, a flag throw. Dixon Edwards fouled him, trailed him, and tackled him.
And it looks like Dixon Edwards may have grabbed that face mask as well. He's sure upset with himself about something. There it is.
George Hayward out of St. Joseph, Missouri was the judge on the side who made
Personal
that
foul,
headline.
face mask, defense number 59, 15-yard penalty, first down.
Carl Pickens, they try to get him the ball with a reverse as many times as they can, at least once a ball game. Clearly the face mask, inadvertent. He's just trying to make the tackle from behind. You know, we mentioned earlier about that Jeff Blake has started 52 games, only 2 100-yard rushing games around him. Boomer Esiason last year had 4 of those 100 yards, and Neil O'Donnell already this year has had 3 100-yard days in the rushing game to help his passing game. So Jeff Blake hasn't had that advantage. He's still a fine quarterback.
Another Viking penalty. Here goes Blake airing it out, looking for Scott, and he's got him. Knocked away, intercepted by Jimmy Hitchcock. The ex-New England Patriot gets a block from Griffith and scores out of bounds at the 34. A 34-yard return. Hitchcock with his 4th interception as a Viking.
And Darnay Scott and Carl Pickens lived off of this throw right here from Jeff Blake a few years ago. Just a little underthrown, perfect position that time by Hitchcock.
How's Max doing?
He's doing okay. So how long before Max can play again?
Well, the vet said Max will be back to his old self in a couple of days.
Even the interior of the Chevy Blazer was designed to make you feel at ease. A little security in an insecure world. Chevy Blazer, like a rock.
In 1984, 2 computer scientists envisioned the impossible, a seamless network of computer networks. They invented the router, and Cisco Systems was born. Today, virtually all internet traffic travels across Cisco equipment, now directing millions of messages a day. And Cisco will be there as web users soar to over 300 million by the year 2002. Where do you learn about companies so integrated into the future? Exactly. NASDAQ Amex, the market of markets.
Hey, mind if I play?
Fred, let's go. The Mississippi River, which is right here in Minneapolis, St. Paul, with Sam White and Kevin Harlan from the 39. Cunningham after the interception by Hitchcock, 1st and 10. Winds up, going deep. He's got Moss. Touchdown! Hitchcock's interception sets up the Cunningham to Moss touchdown.
And this is what Minnesota wanted to do. Score quick and get Cunningham out of there. The bomb. Randy Moss kind of slowed down a little bit and then turned the Jets on again and went after it. This guy has unbelievable acceleration. Right over the top of the head. Now, you lose sight of that ball just as it reaches your hands when you're looking right over the top. Your helmet blocks you out.
Career long, 61-yard touchdown reception. Extra point by Gary Anderson. Moss, the #1 rookie receiver in the NFL, with 7 touchdowns. The Vikings have blown this open in the Dome.
Yeah, you can stay.
His first 5 games, 6 touchdown receptions. He just had his first in the last 5. Where is Randy Moss? He's right there and in the heart of the Viking offense. The kickoff by Berger, again in the end zone, and Mack this time decides to take it out. and finds a seam and is out to the 31 for the Cincinnati Bengals. A return of 35. Tonight on CBS, see how Annie Sullivan sacrificed her life to bring light to Helen Keller in the sequel to The Miracle Worker. Roma Downey and Moira Kelly star in Monday After the Miracle. All tonight on CBS. Kevin Harlan, Sam White, and a second try for Jeff Blake as the Bengal QB. From the 31, first and 10, Dillonson outside. Wrapped up by Dwayne Clemens, who's taking the place of the injured Stalin Colonnade.
Jeff Blake made his living a year ago, or 2 years ago actually, throwing the ball deep with a high loft and letting those receivers, Pickens and Scott, run under him and make the big catch. That time it was intercepted by Hitchcock. But this is a quarterback who has the dimension of running. He can scramble around and make plays happen. He can make a good play out of a bad call, and he can throw the ball deep. The receivers just box the defender out and try to make the pass look good. Didn't happen last time.
Second down and 10 from the 31. Blake, the pump, and the throw to the fullback, Mill. That's by Rush. Shy of the first down at the 38. You see, Pitboy, some close games around the NFL as Jay Fiedler is warming up. It looks to be set to come in the game. And Atlanta on San Francisco as they start the fourth. Wow.
New Orleans winning. I tell you, Atlanta hasn't been as excited about their football as they are this year, and I don't know how long. I grew up in Atlanta. I can tell you they are fired up and deserve to be. The Bengals on another crucial third down.
Third down and 2 from the 39. It's Dillon. First down, rumbling up to the 43, picking up 4. Dwayne Rudd again with the tackle.
This is Hitchcock after the interception and being so Griffin is just going to absolutely pistol whip this guy. Now there's a celebration you don't see every day. Thank goodness.
Hitchcock picks it off. He's taking the place of the departed free agent Dwayne Washington, who went to the Steelers. First and 10 from the 43. Blake the short shot, but here they come right on him again. Derek Alexander. It's the 4th sack authored by the Viking defense today.
That one comes from their 96 number 1 draft pick. 3-step drop real quick right here. Here he comes from the inside, and the offensive line was sliding. They're going to the right. Watch the line slide to the right side, and then they leave the hole back open on the inside, just inside of Rich Braham.
Very, very steady Derek Alexander, a number 1 pick 4 years ago. Second down and 15. Blake, with time, fires a pass incomplete for the outstretched Carl Pickens, the NFL's number 1 receiver. That's incomplete. Corey Fuller was there covering, the 6'2" wide receiver.
What happens? The adrenaline's flowing right now with Jeff Blake. Anytime you've got a receiver that's pivoting, he stops. His shoulders are square and looking back at you. You throw about to his belt buckle because as he comes back to the ball tends to climb up around the chest area. That time he ends up around the head, the ball goes over his head.
Why does the ball rise?
Well, because he lets it go from a high point and it drops as it in flight.
Aerodynamics.
But a very good question for me.
Third and 15. Throw that bit. Maybe too much time off the clock.
Before the snap, ball starts. Offense, number 75. 5-yard penalty. It's still third down.
That's guard Anthony Brown replacing the injured Ken Blackman. Only the second penalty on Bruce Koslick's Bengals today.
They came in with only 44, leading the league, which is a good one, leading the fewest penalties called against them. That's a team with discipline, a team that's playing hard but not committing mistakes. That means that they've got good concentration throughout the game. But we'll talk about it here in a minute. One of the problems they've had is finishing the ball game.
The AFC's youngest team, the Bengals, down 24-3, facing third and 20. Up in the pocket goes Blake. He's got to get to the Viking 47. He's well shy, getting back basically to the original line of scrimmage. A scrambling game of 8. Kylie Wong, a rookie and a second-round pick out of Stanford, makes the tackle.
And the Bengals, even though it's 4th down and long, have to go for it here to have any chance of getting back in the game with 8.5 minutes or 8 minutes and 24 seconds left.
No choice.
Well, there's no choice. You can't punt the ball, obviously. You're 4th down and long. But if you're going to get back in, you've got multiple scores you've got to make. You've got to get one on this drive. Bengals are only going to get the ball maybe 2 more times after this.
4th and 12, and on 4th down today, the Bengals 0-1. Battaglia in motion. The catch is made to the 50 and shy of the 1st down. Darnay Scott. A gain of 11 when they needed 12, and it goes back to the Vikings at midfield.
It was a good try, but the Minnesota Vikings are a smart football team. They had their heels planted firmly at the 1st down marker and kept everything in front of them and made sure they didn't run for the 1st down.
We're going to see Jay Fiedler.
CBS is sponsored by IBM. Are you ready for e-business? And by Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Pick Enterprise. We'll pick you up.
Vikings have it. New quarterback Jay Fiedler. The guy who at one time was in the Bengals camp. In fact, the Bengals recommended him to the Vikings. And up the middle is Robert Smith. Fiedler was an MVP in the Ivy League and led Dartmouth to many successful seasons. And he's left Sam White speechless.
I'm watching the pass. I want to see if he completed that with there. Was that my cue to say
well,
something?
That was it, but that's okay. We're just kind of getting started. We are in the 4th quarter.
We're in it right here. Jay Fiedler, though, was supposed to be in this ball game a good 2 quarters ago. That was the plan. They weren't looking ahead. Minnesota was not looking ahead, but they just felt like they could whip Cincinnati. Cincinnati's played well, especially in their running game and their defense.
2nd and 7. Here's his 5th NFL pass, and it's a completion. And it's caught by Reed. That was more of a smokeless pass, but it had just enough gas to get to Reed. It's a gain of 12.
Well, you know, the first one, you want it to be smokeless. You don't want to have any fires break out at this stage of the game. Just let the guy get one under his belt, lay it in there close, a nice still target, nobody on the move. I guarantee you, Jay Fiedler feels a lot better right now.
Fiedler was cut by this team in preseason. They went with Todd Bauman, but when the other quarterback, Brad Johnson, went down with the leg, they brought back Fiedler for depth at quarterback, and here he goes again. With the block from Smith, he goes deep, and he's picked off. At the 10-yard line, Sam Shane working his way to the 43. It's his 3rd interception of the year, a return of 32 yards. And the 3rd turnover by the Vikings this afternoon.
Now that's a throw. It's a seam throw. You're going to throw it down the middle, and you're going to put it to where the receiver is headed. The receiver never looked back to try to prevent the interception. The ball was a little underthrown.
Man, have we got a college game for you next Saturday? An SEC shootout with Kentucky's Craig East and Heisman hopeful Tim Couch. Everybody's talking about this quarterback. Counterattack the balance of T. Martin, Al Wilson, and the Tennessee Volunteers. What a win they had yesterday over Arkansas. NASDAQ Amex College Football on CBS next Saturday.
A lot of offense in that ball game next week.
Blake 1st and 10. Pocket crumbles, passes away, and caught. 46-yard line. Darnay Scott a gain of 3.
Now the Bengals are going to have to go into their 2-minute mode, even though there's 6 minutes left in the ball game. They've got to score more than once, obviously. They're going to go back into the huddle right now, but everything's going to be up-tempo. They've got to get things going quickly. It looks like Darnay Scott's coming off with a little bit of an injury right there, reaching for that ball. Came down funny on the ankle.
He's battled an Achilles, and he's missed the last 2 games until today. Second down and 7. They swing it out to the flat, caught by Dillon. From behind, brought down as he goes to the 48. Gain of 6. Corey Fuller with the tackle.
Now Minnesota knows they're throwing the football, so they've got their ears pinned back. They're coming hard up the field. You can get those little swing passes and one-on-one open situations. On occasion, you can pop a little quick trap or a little quick draw right up the chute as well.
24-3 Vikings. A touchdown run by Cunningham. 62-yard fumble recovery by Rudd. A 32-yard field goal and a 61-yard touchdown pass to Moss. 3rd and 1. Handoff. Dillon, and I don't think he staggered forward for enough. And I don't think he's got the first down. As Dwayne Rudd, who's had a wonderful game, including that return of 62 yards and the fumble. Make Bruce Coslett face 4th down and a long yard.
Rudd's been all over the field. That time, Jeff Blake tried to work the hard count, get them to jump off sides. They did move off sides, but didn't make contact. The ball didn't come up while he was in the neutral zone. They really missed an opportunity to gain 5 yards. 4th down and 2 to go.
Blake hit, throws down the sideline. He's got a receiver who bobbles it, James Hunden. The guy who made the team as a rookie free agent a year ago, Anthony Phillips, was stride for stride with Hunden. Flag is down, back at the 43. It's against the Vikings.
That'll be an automatic first down, regardless, because it's less than 5 yards, even if it's not a penalty that carries an automatic first down with it.
Illegal hands to the face. Defense number 90. 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
And the Bengals just need something big to happen in a hurry, and then they go back to work and hope that they can get a turnover and quick return, get the ball back real quick. That's their only hope at this stage. Cannot be conservative and drive the ball down the field now.
Blake, whose dad played in the Canadian Football League many years ago, was originally a 6th-round pick by the Jets in '92, waived in '94, picked up by the Bengals, Pro Bowl starter in '95, a horrible '97. 1st and 10. Boy, Dillon stopped in his tracks with a wonderful tackle from Ed McDaniel, the leader of this defense. They told us yesterday. Well, this, in our opinion, the play of the game.
Well, clearly, this was a terrific ball game up until this point. Both teams are playing even football. It looks like that the arm is going forward. It looks like a forward pass, therefore incomplete. No official threw a beanbag. There was no decisive judgment or call as to a fumble. That's the part that will be discussed on Monday in New York by Jerry Seaman.
2nd down, 11 from the 45. Blake blitzes on by McDaniel. The pass away. First catch today by tight end Marco Battaglia. A gain of 7. Griffith wrapped him up. Battaglia, a 2nd-round pick out of Rutgers a couple years ago.
Bengals have to score 3 times. Now, they could take a couple of these shorter, or the run or the short pass to keep them honest, but they've got to go down the field here soon. And then, of course, we're into the onside kick situation.
And they've got all their timeouts. As you see, Cunningham in the background there finished 13 of 20, 224 yards, a touchdown, and he was intercepted twice. Uncharacteristically intercepted.
Yeah, but on first down, Cunningham was 9 for 9 for 163 yards.
3rd and 4, leaping catch by Dillon. Caught from behind by Rudd. Forced on a bound on the far sideline. Tonight on CBS. It came as a surprise that he blamed his psychiatrist for the 2 murders he committed. Real surprise, the jury bought it. 60 Minutes reports tonight. Then, it's the 100th episode of Touched by an Angel, with guest stars Celine Dion and Winona Judd, whose sister is daughter, Deke? Daughter is Ashley Judd. Followed by the CBS Sunday movie, Monday After the Miracle, starring Roma Downey and Moira Kelly, tonight on CBS.
You look like an official trying to throw a green beanbag that time. No, make a decision.
4th and 2, and it's dropped by tight end Tony McGee. Underutilized tight end Tony McGee, I may add, and they don't convert on 4th down again. It goes back to the Vikings. Again, a great play by probably the defensive MVP of the game, Dwayne Rudd.
Well, Dwayne Rudd played a terrific game. That defense, though, overall has played well, because they, even on those drives late in the game here, they forced Cincinnati to take 3 and 4 downs to make a first down, not picking up those big chunks. Bruce Cosley, as they came off the field, though, did acknowledge to Jeff Blake, hey, good job. You did the best you could out there.
7 tackles by Rudd. A fumble recovery for a 62-yard touchdown. He's super. They got Fiedler back in there.
Let's use all the clock time now for Minnesota.
Hand off to Leroy Hoare. Tries to carve out a couple. 2nd down and 9. Attendance record here at the Dome today, 64,232. I saw Tim Conley in the hallway, a guy who made a tremendous reputation for himself with the Kansas City Chiefs. Now the GM with the Minnesota Vikings. He said in their plans down the road they would love a new stadium, because they've got right now a limited source of revenue, and to compete financially for free agents against other teams in the NFL is fruitless. They can't do it.
Well, every city runs into that. You've got to kind of match the best to stay even in free agency.
2nd and 9. Horde again. Shot up the middle for a first down. Leroy Horde to the 41. Randolph with the tackle.
Leroy Horde is such a likable guy. You like to see him make plays like that and get back involved in the game. You know, even though he's not the starter, every ball game this year, he's been a factor in every ball game.
6 touchdowns. A season-long 19-yard return. We're at the 2-minute warning. Looks like the Vikings are going to go to 9-1.
Joan London for Claritin.
For years, I tried to deal with seasonal allergies. I took a million different kinds of over-the-counter antihistamines. Had a cupboard filled with allergy medications. They made me feel drowsy. Then my doctor prescribed non-drowsy, once-a-day Claritin. Claritin works for me.
Claritin has a low occurrence of side effects, such as headache, drowsiness, fatigue, and dry mouth.
After I talked to my doctor, I was amazed at how easy it was to control my season.
10 for the Vikings, and I think they may have made some history here, which we'll tell you about in a second. From the Bengal 42, it's Horde with the flag thrown. Horde will not be denied. Look at him, shot all the way to the 33. Gain of 9, Brian Simmons makes the tackle. This kid right here is a rookie from Harvard, Matt Burke. The quarterback is Jay Fiedler from Dartmouth. I will guarantee you, as the penalties against the Vikings, I will guarantee you there's not another offense in the NFL today that will have 2 Ivy Leaguers on the field at the same time.
And your point being?
Illegal motion. Offense number 85 moving forward at the snap. 5-yard penalty, repeat first down.
There's no point.
The wager would be for.
It's a statement of fact. Is all the Ivy League guys, and you can see them. This is the only team that has 2.
There you go.
On the same club. That's why we're saying this.
Well, look at this now. Look at this right here.
Oh,
Indianapolis
have 2,
and they're both running backs. So I trump. You know, I could trump your trump right there with that one.
If they get both those kids in, I'll buy you dinner next week.
You haven't bought me dinner yet.
Well, we got something to do now. We've got a reason now. 1st and 15. Leroy Horde to the 24 of Cincinnati. Mack and Shade and Hawkins all had to bring him down. He is a runaway locomotive.
And you know, when you mentioned Sam Shade, it's also what has happened with the Bengals here. They just don't finish games. Let's look at the standings right here, though. Minnesota will go to 9-1. A 2-game lead over Green Bay at this point. And Tampa Bay still not out of this one, I don't think. Cincinnati dropping to 2-8. Jacksonville, Pittsburgh. This is a tight race right here. There's 3 good football teams. Tennessee playing the Tennessee Titans. I guess they're the Tennessee Oilers for the rest of the year, but they will be the Tennessee Titans next year.
1st and 10. Horde again. He's coming off a career, making a season-long 23-yard run. And with that carry right there, where he makes his move to the 21-yard line of Cincinnati, Horde replacing Robert Smith. 7 carries, 51 yards. Not a bad day. You and I have Pittsburgh and Jacksonville next week. What a game that will be at Three Rivers.
That's going to be a lot of fun. And, you know, that's not only are they 2 top football teams, but they're become a rivalry over the short history of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When we visit with Jacksonville and Pittsburgh, they both mention each other as top rivalries already.
Vikings will lead it off to their fastest start since 1975. And they can go to bed tonight knowing that at the very worst, they've got a 2-game lead over the 2nd-place Green Bay Packers in the NFC Central. Randall Cunningham
played so well for really 2/3 of the ball game. They gave Minnesota more than they thought they were going to have to handle here today. They gave Denver all they could handle a few weeks ago, and of course they beat the Pittsburgh Steelers with a last-minute throw. But the Minnesota Vikings continue to find a way to win.
Bengals lose their 5th consecutive game for Sam Weiss. Kevin Harlan saying so long from the Dome, where the Vikings have won it 24-3.